Here's the piece that my client found on my website, and here's the piece that I started with to create a similar look. I knew this gorgeous solid wood piece would be the perfect piece of furniture to create that same look that she wanted. So I got right to work. I started by using my non-toxic soy-based stripper on the top of this piece. Let it sit for 30 to 60 minutes and then take your metal scraper and just watch the old varnish melt away. Just make sure that you move your metal scraper always in the direction of the wood, as you can see that I'm doing. And continue scraping the entire piece until all the old stain is removed. And then clean it with soap and water. Next, I'm going to sand the top, first with a 120 grit sandpaper and then with a 180 grit. This ensures a nice, smooth finish ready for staining. I never go any higher than a 220 grit when I'm going to be using stain in order for the stain to adhere properly. And I don't recommend going any lower than a 120 grit because otherwise you might burn right through the veneer. Once I finish with the sanding, I take a microfiber cloth and wipe off any of the excess dust so the surface is ready for staining. Next, it's time to apply the fun wooden accents that are going to make this piece much more similar to the original piece that my client wanted. I have the full tutorial for working with Wood U Bend accent pieces on my channel in the video section, and I'll also put the link in the description. These accent pieces are a really great way to add something unique to your pieces, and they're also a great way to recreate a specific look like I'm doing with mine here. Now it's time to get started painting. Before I started painting, I did a very light sanding with a 220 grit sandpaper over the entire base. This just makes the surface a little bit rough so that it's all ready for the paint to adhere properly. This paint has a built-in primer, so I'm not priming with a separate product. I'm using my favorite zebra brush to get into all those crevices and nooks and crannies. This is my favorite part of the project, so I really just try to relax and enjoy the process of painting. I was almost finished painting the base when I realized I still needed to add this trim to the bottom part. So I used wood glue and then a nail gun to attach it to the base. Then I was ready to finish painting. Once that was done, I moved on to the top and I stained it with a dark walnut. I didn't really get any great video of this, I apologize, but I have lots of other videos and full tutorials showing how to stain and how to work with different stains. So I'll go ahead and link those in the description for you. Next, I'm ready for another really fun part, which is adding the glaze to the paint for an antique aged look. So I'm using this glaze by Rust-Oleum, a foam pad, and a small paintbrush to get in all the crevices. Apply it liberally all over the entire piece, especially making sure to get a lot of product into the crevices and details. Next, take a smooth microfiber rag and wipe off the excess, especially on the raised surfaces. You obviously want to leave the glaze in the crevices because that's kind of what gives it that old look. So you don't need to take your rag to try to get it out of the crevices. You want to leave it there and let it dry. So you take the rag and wipe off the raised surfaces and anywhere that you don't want the glaze to stay. It can be kind of a tricky process because the glaze does stay on the surface. So you have to go over it many times to kind of make sure that you have the strokes going in the right direction. But it's very forgiving, and you can just keep applying more or using a little bit of water to wipe off any excess or something that you don't really like. So don't worry if you don't get it right your first try. You can really work with this product a lot to get it right. Hi, I'm Chloe from Renewed by Chloe, and thank you for watching my videos. If you're interested in watching more flips, please stay tuned for the next video. As always, I've linked all the products and supplies in the description, so go ahead and check there if you want to recreate this look. And please feel free to leave me any comments. If you have any questions, I'd love to help you out with your project. If you think you might be interested in learning how to refinish pieces yourself, check out my beginner furniture flipper class and give me a follow. Or feel free to scroll through some of my old videos and check out some of my past projects. And thank you again for watching my videos and supporting me. See you on the next flip. Bye!